Alright everyone, let's get into it. Today we have our first OP-13 leader, IMU. Now, IMU's the first leader I'm going to be doing in this entire set, so I'll have some more videos on the other leaders soon. I think we'll have that posted soon. But anyways, the first one is IMU. For those of you who don't know, 4-life leader. Under the rules of the game, you can include events with a cost of 2 or more. And at the start of the game, you get to play a stage, one Mary Joie stage from your deck. Now, as far as I know, there's only 2 stages in this entire game. It's the Holy Land Mary Joie and the Empty Throne that was just added in OP-13, but we'll get to that in a second. Now, the activate main of this leader is you may trash 1 Celestial Dragons type character from your field or 1 card from your hand, and you get to draw 1 card. Fairly decent, right? You're able to get to the cards you need, cycle some cards. And for life leader, it's meh, but what really cracks this deck is the 10 cost, which we'll get to in a bit. But in this deck, we're gonna start off with our first 1 cost. It's a 4 of Searcher. 1 cost, 0 power. On play, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal a Celestial Dragons type other than this card, and then add it to your hand. Then you have to trash the rest of those cards and then trash 1 more card from your hand. So good for early game when you're trying to, fill up your trash to get to that 7 mark. Because 7 mark is when all of the abilities of your Gorosei turn on. The Gorosei. Alright, now, next up, we have a chump blocker. We run 2 of it. It is a 2-cost blocker with an on-play ability of trash 1 card from the top of your deck. Fairly simple, helps with, filling up your trash, essentially, right? And then we have our first 2K. Our 2K is a 2-cost Saint Miosgard, 0 power. On play, if you have 3 or less life cards, play up to 1 Mary Joie type stage card with a cost of 1 from your trash. I don't really know in what scenario you'd be using this, aside from if you go in the mirror and then you play your 7 cost, and then somehow, they get rid of the 7 cost with the event that's in this deck, and then you play it for me. I just don't understand what this is even for. I think it's just a 2K counter at the end of the day. But next up, we have our first Gorosei, Saint Saturn, J. Garcia Saturn, 5 Elders Celestial Dragon type. Now it's a 4 cost, 5K power, 1000 counter, and I'll only say this once because all of the Gorosei have this. If you have 7 or more cards in your trash, this character cannot be removed from the field by your opponent's effects. Now, I'll only say this because one of them gains rush if you have 7 or more cards, but we'll get to it when we get there. I'm just going to say this once because I don't want to repeat myself on all these cards. They're all the same. This one is the Searcher of the Gorosei. So you look at the top 5 cards, reveal a 5 Elders type, and then add it to your hand. Then you place the rest of at the bottom of your deck. Okay. Next up is our second Gorosei. It's going to be Warcury, Saint Topman Warcury. 4 cost also. It is your blocker. It gains a blocker at 7 or more in your trash. Now it's 5000 power on KO, draw a card. Alright, pretty decent, I guess. Saint Topman Warcury. Next up, we have our Rush. So if you have 7 or more, right, you get Rush. Now this is a 6 cost, 5000 power, plus 1000 counter. When attacking, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2000 power during this turn. This is Saint Eaton Baranavinus Juro. Alright. Now, next up, we'll get to, what brings this all together at the end, but next up we have Saint Marcus Mars. Okay, this one gains blocker, alright, instead of rush or whatever. Instead of rush. And it is an 6 cost, 5000 power, 1K counter. On play, trash 1 card from your hand and you KO up to 1 character with a base cost of 5 or less. This deck goes crazy against Green Purple Luffy. I play in the East, and this deck, I tried over at a local flagship that was held a couple days back, and it's crazy that this can KO a Sanji and Pudding and a GP Luffy, right? Because even if they add it with their stage, it's a base cost of 5 or less. So really good ability, really broken, right? Alright, so you run 4 of each of the Gorosei. Next up, I'll talk about the last Coruscant before we go to our other 2K. Our last Coruscant is Saint Shepherd Jupiter. All right, I guess you can see what these names are: Saturn, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, right? Pretty crazy stuff. It's a 2K counter. All right, so this is one of your 2K counters, but this one is your turn during your turn. All right, 7 cost, 5,000 power. If you have 7 or more cards in your trash, your 5 elders type characters base power becomes 7,000. So all your elder types, all your 5 elders, right, they all become 7,000 power. Pretty crazy stuff, right? Pretty crazy stuff. Now, next up we have our last 2K counter. It's Sabo. Okay, now I see a lot of decks that run the Stucci instead of this, the 9 cost Stucci, where you can trash or you KO one of your characters or trash one of your characters and you get to KO one of theirs, like any cost, any power. So pretty crazy. This one is the PRB2 Sabo. If you have 15 or more cards in your trash, which a lot of the times you will get to pretty quick, give this card in your hand -3 cost, and it's a blocker. Okay, now if you're not trying to buy any PRB2, you could obviously run this deck with purely OP-13 cards, right? Even then it would be too crazy of a deck. So like these St. Charlos that we were talking about a while ago, that's a blocker. That's 2 cost chump blockers. You could replace these 2 Sabos with just 2 St. Charloses and it wouldn't make a difference in the deck. It just wouldn't. All right, this deck is just too broken. All right, and let's get to why this deck is broken, and it's because of this card. The 10 cost, 12,000 power. Activate main. If your leader is IMU, you may rest one of your Dawn cards and trash 1 card from your hand. Trash all of your characters and play up to 5 elders type characters with different card names and 5,000 power from your trash. So essentially you're playing the 5 Gorosei for free. On top of that, you get to cheat this big body out early, and we'll get to why that is in a second, but I want to talk about the events that you run in this deck, which are all OP-13 cards, of course. First is the Searcher. 5 elders are at your service. This is essentially like This Is My Age and Blackbeard, right? You look at the top 3 and then you trash the rest. Next up, but this gets Celestial Dragons and 5 elders, just like the Saint Shalria or whatever. But anyways, actually, I think the Saint Shalria, yeah, just Celestial Dragons, which is the 5 elders anyways. It doesn't really matter. The first counter that we run, it's a 1 cost. World's Equilibrium cannot be maintained forever. This one's pretty decent also. Its main is if you rest 5 Dawn, so for a cost of 6, you can KO an original base cost 6 or less character of your opponents, which is super crazy too. If you think about it, that's a lot of Sabo's characters, so it's the new OP-13 Sabo, I mean. And some of like say the Nico Robin blocker, or like Koala. I talk about Koala because we have a match against Koala, but like Koala's stuff too, you can use this to knock some of her characters out. And the counter is just plus 3,000 power for 1 cost. Really, really good card. Next up is the Never Existed. Okay, this one's mainly for giving, plus 4,000 power counter to your leader or characters to save them. The main is useful, but the main isn't really that useful because of the fact that if you're gonna play the mirror, most of the time they're gonna be playing the Holy Land Marijois stage instead of the Empty Throne, just because of this, right? So if you rest 2 of your Dawn cards, you KO the stage that costs 7, and usually they always have this in hand right at the beginning, so they can just knock your stage out instantly. So it's just bad in the mirror. Now to go on to our stages, which is the important part, right? You get to play out 1 Marijois stage from your deck at the beginning with this leader. So the first one we have is the Holy Land Marijois for the mirror. 1 cost, your turn, character cards that cost 2 or more and have the Celestial Dragon type cost 1 less to play from your hand. And then obviously this for the mirror, right? So you can play out your bodies early, play out if you're at 10 Dawn, you can play out the 5 elders still and use it that turn, right? But now to the what makes this deck fairly broken, I think, and it's not just because it's not just a 10 cost, that makes it broken. It's this too. It's a 7 cost stage Empty Throne. Your turn, if you have 19 or more cards in trash, your leader gains plus 1,000, so it becomes a 6,000 power character leader during your turn. And the activate main is you may rest this stage in 3 of your Dawn cards, and you play 1 black 5 elders type character with a cost equal or less than the total number of your Dawn, which is crazy. Crazy. You can cheat out these characters so easily. Now, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This deck is very brain dead. It's broken. I don't know. I think it's, personally, my opinion on this is the fact that we're seeing this power creep in OP-13. So imagine what's gonna happen in OP-14 and OP-15. Now, there's obviously good complaints that are coming from a lot of people in the community that's this deck, you know, it just, what's the point of playing OP-12, or what's the point of using past decks? What's the point of buying past decks? And that's true. Like, I own a lot of past decks too. I own Teach, I own Shanks, I even go as far back. I have Boa deck. I have a Boa deck. I have a Vegapunk deck. And these decks are like, I want to play them. I want to play them at my locals. I want to. But you're going up against leaders like this and the new OP-13 leaders like Sabo and Roger, and it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? They're just forcing us to buy their new product, essentially. And you can't blame Bandai. They're a company. That's what they're supposed to do. But come on. Give some leeway, you know? It is what it is, though. What can you do? We're just people who play or don't play this game, and so let's get straight into the games, alright? Alright, everybody, first up we have our first match against Sabo, the OP-13 leader, okay? So, our first hand, you know, not too good. We got 2 at the 10 costs. We have the Warcury, we have the Mars, we have an event. We have nothing to trash cards except for our leader ability, right? So, off to a rocky start. But even if we have a rocky start, or even when we make mistakes, which you'll see in a bit, this deck is still supremely broken. Doesn't matter. So they bring out the Koala Searcher. Okay. They search up. Pass it back over to us. We get a Searcher, the 1-cost Searcher, right? So we take the Saturn so that we can do a search and then trash the rest. Okay. So we have a Warcury, we have a Saturn, and we have Nuzjuro, so Venus in the trash also, so we're close to our 5. Actually, we are at 3 already. You see how quick that was? So we have our Mercury, we have our Venus, we have our Mars, we have Saturn. All we need is Jupiter Jupiter to complete our set and not worry about what's in our trash anymore, because then we can freely use our 10 costs. But they attack into us for 5, we take. They attack into us again for 5, we counter out. Okay. Feels bad, but to give a 2k, but it is what it is. We don't want to go too low on life too early. So we use the stage, rest 3 done, cheat out a 4-cost body, right? Do a search. Okay, we take the Jupiter that we were missing. All right. Now we trash with our activate main the Saturn, because we don't need another Saturn in our hand, and we end up getting another Saturn anyway. So the luck there. So we attack the Koala so they can't attack into us again, pass it over, because remember, the Sabo is stuck on 4,000 power until he's less than 4 life. So when he's at 3 life, then he becomes 5,000. If he attaches a Dawn and has an 8-cost character on board, he becomes 6,000. So just so you guys know how that works, I'll have a video on that too later on. You know, I'm just testing out all these leaders first, all these OP-13 leaders, and playing just a bunch of games before I even try to release a video on them, you know. So anyways, back into it. We're checking our trash, making sure we have all our elders. We do. We're all set. Now we pass it back over to them. Let's see how long they take. I think we can skip a bit, right? I think they play out they play out their Sabo. Sorry about that, everyone. We're back. I didn't mean to cut like that, but they play out the 6-cost Sabo blocker. You know, the activate main. You give a Rusted Dawn to your leader, and then you give +2 cost. So now he's fully at 6,000 power, right? I mean, he's fully at 5,000 power now, because he's not at 3 life. And so, because he has an 8-cost character on board. So he attacks us for 6. We counter out with the Jupiter, just so that we have all those elders in our trash, and we're not too worried about it. Okay, that's the main important part for this deck. So we use the stage to rest 3 Dawn, bring out another Searcher. We get the Mercury for sure here, because I don't think we can KO any, because the KO on Mars is just 5 costs or less, and that doesn't hit the Sabo in any way. Okay, so we take the Mercury, play out the Mercury. So notice we're able to cheat 2 4 costs on our 7 Dawn turn, so because of the stage, and then we have 4 Dawn left over, right? So we have a blocker on board that on KO draws us a card. But anyways, we attack for 5, they block out, we attack for 5. They take, I'm pretty sure, just so that they're at 6,000 power, but no, they do counter out. I'm not sure why. Maybe because they want more bodies on board, which makes sense. Here we go again, checking our trash. We already passed it over. We have lots of events in our hand. We forgot to activate our main. I think it's because we were satisfied with what we have in our hand and what we have in our trash that we weren't even really thinking about it, right? But always be aware of being able to use your leader ability, because also once you hit 19 cards in trash, you're able to have plus 1000 on your leader during your turn. Doesn't work on the opponent's turn, it's only during your turn. So our enemy does a search. Okay, I think here they play out the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They said they only have 7 Dawn. Okay, so they play out the OP-13 Koala, which, you know, if you read it right there, activate main once per turn, place 1 card from your trash at the bottom of your deck, and give a rested Dawn to a leader or character. Now, they attach it to Sabo. Everyone gets plus 1000. He gets plus 1000 technically also. So he attacks us for 8. We block, draw a card, get a 2k counter in hand. Not bad. They attack us for 8 again. We take, we're at 2 life. We got to be careful now, but it doesn't really matter. We use the event. You see, remember, you are able to KO a base 6 cost or less and get rid of that annoying pesky ass blocker, right? Stop giving plus 3 costs and quit giving us rested Dawn for free. Okay, so peak 3, we take the rush Venus Juro. Okay, attack for 5. I would take, just so they're a 6,000 leader. Yeah, see, so they do. We accidentally, see, even when we make mistakes, we still somehow end up winning. And that's just because this deck is crazy. So we try to attack into them thinking, oh, they're still going to be on 5, right? Nope. We notice the mistake there. Attach 1 Dawn, swing for 6 again. Okay, they counter out with the, I forget what it is, Wrecking Fist or something. It's the 1 cost counter from OP-11. It came with the Koala package, right? Waxing Fist, maybe? But anyways, you pass it back over to them. They're at 10 Dawn. I'm sure they play out a Dragon here. Oh no, they end up playing a Shanks. I've never seen a Shanks in some of the deck lists, but okay. So they swing for 7. That's fine. We counter out with our event. They swing for 7 again. We use the Muse Guard and the Mercury for 3k counter. They attack into us, we take. We have no choice, right? So there are lots of good cards in our hands. We're at our 10 Dawn turn. What do? Bring out the 10 costs. What do we do with 10 costs? Well, first, I'm checking the math to see if we can attach Dawn to our Saturns to be able to attack in. But we trash a card. We draw the Mary Joie stage, which sucks, but it is what it is. Attach 2 Dawn. Okay. We need to make sure that we save 1 Dawn for the 10 cost body, because you have to rest a Dawn first and trash a card to be able to bring out all the 5 elders again. So anyways, we attach 2, swing for 6. I think we attach 2 here again. Yep, swing for 6. They counter out with a 2k. Okay, so we trash. All right, we bring out the 5 elders again. Essentially, go Power Rangers, right? Or the Avengers. Okay, so we do a search. We take the 10 costs just because that's what we're going to do. Keep cycling out the 10 costs, right? Pretty crazy. And then we use the ability of Mars to trash 1 card and KO a base cost 5 or less to get rid of that Koala. Easy, done. Boom. And then with our rush Venus, we swing into the Sabo for 6. Give minus 2,000 to the Shanks, of course. Minus 2,000, yeah. But it has plus 1,000, and they take that last attack. So here we are. Notice the position we're in. We have 2 more 10 costs. All our 5 elders are on the board. Granted, they're minus 1,000, but they're still going to be 6,000 during our turn. Okay? Because of the Jupiter. And so his best bet is to try to go for game here. But we have 2 blockers on board, you see? So it's crazy because every time you cycle these elders, you get 2 blockers on board. Crazy. And then you can throw another blocker if you have one in your hand on top of that. So this deck just is broken. They go ahead, use the Revolutionary Army stage for some reason. Okay. They search. I think they bring out the dragon finally, right? They should, at least, if they don't have it. Yep, the dragon, and they bring out the Sabo too. They should be bringing out the Sabo, yep. Perfect. Use the activate main, attach arrested. Okay, so they got 7,000 power on that leader. I think at this point, our opponent is thinking about what to do because of the fact that in 2 more cycles, or even just 1 more cycle, I'm pretty sure we have game, unless he has the counters for all of them. So he attacks into our Venus. We let that go. We don't need it. There's no point. They use the Shanks to attack into us. They only have 1 attack left, so we use the Mercury to get a extra card in hand. So we activate main, trash the Shalria. Okay, we're all at 6k, right? We have 19 in trash, so everybody on board, including the leader, is a 6k. He's at 6k. We swing. But first we attach Dawn, of course, but leave enough for Dawn to be able to cycle the 10 cost 5 elders again. So we swing for 7. They counter out, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Swing for 7 again. They block this time. I don't know if they have counters. Yep. And then we swing for 7 one last time. Alright. They counter out. Oh, they take, I mean. And then here we get a little cocky. We're thinking maybe we should go for game. I don't think that's smart. They could have a lot of 2k counters in hand. So instead, what do? We cycle out the 10 cost. For some reason in the sim, this card gets minus 5,000 power. I'm not sure why that is. I read the card and it doesn't say anything about it getting minus 5,000 power. And it comes up in a later game again because we leave the 10 cost on board to attack into a leader. And it just doesn't make sense. Maybe that's a glitch or something, but anyways, we use the 10 cost, trash Jupiter, bring out all the 5 elders again. We have the Venus for rush, right? So we do the search first. We get the Charlos. We can't get the Charlos. We can only get 5 elders. This is where I was thinking, wait, I can't grab a Celestial Dragon, right? So we end up getting the Venus. Take the Venus, return the cards back. We don't use the Mars ability because there's no base 5 cost. Swing into the Sabo again with this card, 6k. Don't minus anyone, doesn't really matter. He 2k counters out. Perfect. We attack into the Sabo with 6. We leave 3 Dawn up for our 3 events in case we need to save anyone or save ourselves, right? So our opponent just ends up giving up because they're bricked up in hand, right? So we end up winning that just based off of the leader attack. They had 0 counters. They had 2 dragons, 2 Stucci's, and a Sabo, right? Blocker Sabo. But anyways, that was the first game against one of the new OP-13 leaders. We'll go on to the next one. Okay, everyone, we're in our second game. It's up against Koala. This game is for those of you who thought Koala could do anything against IMU because of the 10 cost, right? You're able to, with Koala's ability, you're able, when they spawn characters out that cost 8 or more, or spawn characters out with another body, then we have to take a life, right? But here's proof as to how broken this leader is. Instead of bringing out my 7 cost stage, I chose to bring out my 1 cost Holy Land Marijwa stage just to see if there was a challenge to it. So let's get right into it. We get the 7 cost in hand, so we keep this on board. So we have the 7 cost card in hand. We keep this just so it's an easy trash with our activate main. We use it, trash it, get our Saturn, which we surely needed. We play the Shalria. Alright, we get the Mars, trash the rest, trash the Searcher, which I don't know if that was a good idea. But now next turn, we can use our activate main on the Shalria that's on board. So always remember, with the leader ability, you can trash something in your hand or a character in play, which is really, really good. Now we have a 2k counter, we have 3 of our elders already, and the 10 cost. So we're kind of getting there, we're kind of setting up already. Mainly what we're trying to do is survive in the early rounds, play out bodies that we can, and get to our 10 Dawn turn. So they attack into us, we get an event. We trash the Shalria, we play out the Saturn for 1 Dawn less. Or Saturn Searcher for 1 Dawn less because of the Mary Joie stage, right? All our characters are -1 cost. The ones that are 2 cost or more, I mean. So we take the Venus here, right? Those were 3 Saturns. 3 Saturn Searchers, if you guys noticed. And so we take the Venus. We have a Venus, Mercury, Saturn. I mean, not Mercury, Mars, Jupiter. So we attack for 5. They take 3 life, 3 life. They get cocky and, you know, we're at 3 life. They might as well take 1 extra card in hand. They attack into us. We counter out with one of the Marses just because we have one in hand, right? Excuse me. So now notice, they do have a Hawk out. Hawk is 4 cost. It gets +4, so it's an 8 cost, but its base cost is 5 or less. So we use the Mars, bring it out for 5 Dawn. We swing first to see if they'll kill it because we don't KO it first because the on KO is it can kill a 4 cost or less, and we don't want it to get rid of our Saturn just yet. But at this time, during this time, we didn't realize that we already had 7 or more in our trash. I was thinking we had less, but we did not. So anyways, we play it out, trash 1 of the 10 costs, see, because we already have 1 in hand. We're thinking they're at 3 life. We probably just need 1 or 2 cycles, and this is the first one we're gonna trash, so we have 2 more coming, right? And we have a bunch of searches every time we use this 10 cost, so no biggie there. We get rid of the Hawk. Our opponent's thinking, why can't I KO any of these guys? And it's because I have 7 or more in my trash. So I swing for 5, they counter out. I trash the Saturn to get another draw, and we get the Mercury that we needed. That basically completes our trash for the 5 Elders, right? So we have all the cards we need already. 5k into us, we counter out. 2k, that's alright, we don't feel too bad about that. They bring out the Robin, we have to trash 2 cards, we end up trashing one of the events and the Mercury. Or no, it would have been okay to trash the Mercury there, but I think we were thinking we play out the Jupiter now instead of later, but we'll see. So we KO the Robin with the event, right? So that's base 6 cost or less. Get rid of their blocker. Attach 1 to our IMU. Swing for 6. And then I think we swing for 6 again, no? We trash 1 card, get the Jupiter again, so we got 2 Jupiters, right? But our trash is complete with the 5 Elders. We keep this blocker on board, I don't think we attack with it. So yeah, we passed that over. They attack. I didn't even notice that the turn had changed already. That's crazy. But they swing into us for 5. They have 10 Dawn, 9 Dawn, 8 Dawn actually, I think. Do we block out? Do we? No, we counter out. Perfect. They got the Hawk out. They got the Sabo out. Now this is a turn where the cycling the 10 cost would have been nice, and we get rid of one of the blockers, but the Sabo gives them immunity from KO. So that's fine. They draw 2, trash 2. Goes back to our turn. We're at 10 Dawn. We swing for 5 first, and then we swing for 5 again. Trash it, swing for 5. We get the blocker out of the activate main. We play the 10 cost that only costs 9 now, and now we're able to use it this turn because we can still rest 1 Dawn. Trash this. Trash the Nizdro and play out all the 5 Elders again. Perfect. Do a search. We take the Mars just because now we can KO more of their blockers, right? That costs 5 or less. We trash 1. We realize, oh, whoops, we made a mistake. -1 card in hand. We can't KO them because of the Sabo. See, even tiny mistakes like this, you don't get punished with this deck. It's crazy. Any other deck, you'd be punished, you know? But this is just too insane. Okay, so we swing 7 into the leader, -2 the Sabo just in case they use it to block, but they could use the hack too, right? They're thinking about what to do. They end up taking it. We have 2 blockers on our board. GG. That's basically GG. We have another 10 cost in hand to be able to cycle it again. So they play Akuma. Okay, perfect. They heal 1. They still have 2 blockers on board. They swing 7 into our Venus. We counter. If we had 1 Dawn, we would counter out of this, but we end up blocking and draw a card anyways. So that's perfectly fine. Now we still have 4 bodies to attack with, and then cycle them again, and then that makes +1, so 5 bodies. So they attack with the Sabo, which I think is a huge mistake here. They let it go. They have 1 Hawk left. Now, another thing you could do in this situation, I forget what I did, but what you could do in this situation is take the Mars out, right? So 5 for the Mars, and then you would KO this Hawk by trashing 1 card, 7, 7, 7, and then swing for game. And I think that would have been game, because I don't think they could have countered out of anything else. So we do end up trashing the Hawk. I think we attach 1 Dawn each, do a 8. But yeah, see, we're smart enough to do 8. If they have the 4K counter out of it, so we swing 7. They don't. Swing 7. They counter out of this. We swing 9 with the rest of the Dawn, and that's GG, because we know they can't counter out of it because they only have 2 cards in hand. So GG to our opponent. Sorry that IMU is broken, but let's go to the next one. Okay, everyone, we're on our last game here. I don't want to spend too much time on this IMU deck. You guys can see how broken and boring it is to play. You know, I do play it at my locals, right? Because I play in the East, and this deck I do use at my locals. I have this deck, and it's only because of the fact that it's competitive and I like to win, right? Who doesn't like to win? But I like to win the special promo cards and whatnot at my locals, and so I use the deck. It is what it is. The last flagship I went to, I got 2nd place, okay, and I was up against another IMU, so you can see the state of things here in the East. It's stupid. But here's our last match, just to not drag on with this IMU leader, because there's more exciting leaders in this OP-13 set that are a lot more fun than this. Not saying this isn't fun. This IMU is kind of fun to play, right? I'm just saying that it's broken, that's all. But up against Gol D Roger, which we have a video of, we'll post soon, but they go ahead and take first. Okay, so we do a search. We use the Shell Re-NX to do another search. Okay, trash to Jupiter. They play out the buggy to ramp 1, 6k into us. We counter out, still 4 cards in hand, that's fine. We trash the Shalria, we have 2 searchers, so we play out the searcher, get the Mercury, then we trash we do another search, sorry, and this time we get the Jupiter. So now we're close to having the Power Rangers in our trash, right? Anyways, we swing for 5, they take, they're at 4 life. Perfect. We're still at 4 life too. They ramp with their 1 cost event, they use the buggy, swing for 5. We block out with the Saturn, of course. Alright, because we already have a Saturn on board. They attack into us with 6, we counter out 2k with the Sabo. Okay. Or actually, yeah, we do counter out 2k with the Sabo. What happened there? They swing to us for 6, we're thinking about countering out with the Sabo. We don't end up countering out, and we just take it instead. More cards in our hand, that's fine, we're not too worried. Rest 3, play out the Mercury, now we have a good blocker on board. Attach 1 Dawn, swing for 6. Maybe they take, maybe they don't. They do counter out with the Nekomamushi. We swing 5 into the buggy so they don't have a body on board. Use our activate main, and we get an event. Alright, then we pass it back over with 2 Dawn left for our events. Perfect, they bring out the Scopper Gaban. 6, they draw 2, trash 1, they trash the Gum Gum Molgun. Okay. They have 2 Dawn left. Their leader, since they're already at 10 Dawn, their leader is 7,000 power, and they swing into our guy for 10,000. And here's the first mistake. See, you make mistakes with this deck and you still end up winning anyway, so it doesn't really affect you that much. But in this situation, it would have been better. And I accidentally misclicked the plus 4,000 for our counter onto the Mercury instead of our Saturn. Now what we would have originally done is plus 4 on the Saturn. We just needed 2k. We would have trashed the Sabo and saved that body to attack more into him, right? Because we had the Jupiter, and we play the Jupiter out next turn because we're not on our 10 Dawn yet, and that makes all our bodies 7k power, so we could swing 7k into him twice already. See, but make the mistake, it's fine, you take it, whatever. We don't do a search. I think we play out the Jupiter first. Do a search, we get 10 Gorosei, so we have 3 in our hand. Now notice we bottom deck the last one, so these are the only 3 that we're gonna get for this entire match. Unless we keep cycling cards, right? But anyways, we attach 3, swing for 8, leave 1 Dawn up for the event. Trash 1 card, which is the Gorosei, which we're fine with because we have 2 more. Okay? And then we're thinking we're gonna finish this game early, right? That's the only reason why, but you know, sometimes it takes time and you have to be wary about trashing those cards even if you have 2 or 3 in your hand. But anyways, we do it. They play another Scopper Gaban. They don't have any 10 cost bodies to play out, so we're lucky on that. They draw 2 trash 1, trash the Silver's Rayleigh. They attack 9, 9 into us, 9 into the Mercury. We let it go, draw 1 card. And then here we counter out of this, I'm pretty sure. Yep, perfect. 3 life, they're at 4 life still. Okay, cool. We play out the 10 cost Gorosei, swing for 7 first. Perfect. Swing for 7 again. At the Gaban this time. Do they take? Do they let it go? They counter. And then we trash the Jupiter, so we don't lose cards in hand. Use the 10 cost, bring out the 5 Gorosei. We do a search. Take the Jupiter again for a 2k counter. And then we have the Venus to swing into the Scopper Gaban, give it minus 2k. They let it go, of course. They're not going to counter out. We can't attach any more Dawn. We can't attack with anyone. So what we end up doing is just passing the turn. But we can also play the blocker out here. Yep. So we play the blocker out. Now we have 3 blockers on board. Crazy, right? So now we're just waiting on our opponent, see if he drops a 10 body, which they should at this time. That's the only way Gol D Roger gets around, is playing his big body cards. Plays the Rayleigh, tries to KO one of our bodies, but it doesn't end up working. You know, I don't know if he knew or he just needed to do it to play this body out. But we see it, we counter out, plus 3k, plus 1k, done. They swing into us for 8, we take it. They can't attack again, so now we swing into them for 7. They counter out, swing for 7 again. They counter out, swing for 7. See, it's just the same thing over and over. Trash 1 card, we draw 1, we get another event. We attach Dawn to the Jupiter, swing for 7, and then swing for 7 one last time. Play out the 10 cost, trash a card. We should have swung first. We completely forgot, but even then I think we were just urging ourselves to bring out the 5 elders again. See, it's crazy. We could have attacked, we could have min-maxed this, but it's fine. We do a search, take the Venus, or we take the event because it is a celestial, a 5 elders card. Swing for 7 into them, attach a Dawn, swing for 7. They take, they're at 2 life with only 1 body on board, and we still have our 5 bodies. Okay, crazy work here. Crazy work, Bandai. They play out the 10 cost Roger. Okay, now we know we can't go down that low in life, you know, so we can't risk it. We do end up countering out of this. Plus 9, done. They swing in for 8, plus 9, done. They swing for 13, we block. Perfect. We have 2 Jupiters, a blocker, and a searcher. So we swing for 7 into the Rayleigh, see if they counter out. They don't. Swing for 7 again. They take. Swing for 7 one last time, or a couple more times. We do a search first, weirdly. Get an event. Okay. We're thinking about maybe we should get rid of this Roger. Now we just go for game at this point. Right? So swing for 7. They counter out. We swing one last time because we don't have the 10 cost, remember? And the last one is towards the bottom. So they counter out of this one. Cool. We play out the blocker. We attach some Dawn to basically, you know, okay, we don't counter. We don't attack. We don't want him to have cards in hand. He takes 1 card from draw. He has 1 life left. He has the Roger. We can survive this, and it ends up being a Shanks. See, crazy work. So it doesn't matter because next turn it's over anyways. He attacks us for 7. Cool. We'll counter out of that. They attack for 12. Block out of that. And they give up. So essentially that's GG's to our opponent, Gol D Roger. You can see how this deck works. I don't want to give you any more gameplay on this just because it's broken. We all get it. We all understand how this goes. It is what it is. OP-13 power creep is real, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make it short and sweet, and I'll see you in the next one.